Ya wanadamu ni wenye utua sana sana inaogofya ni wale wenye wanaenda kama ndovu. Wanatumia kama bunduki. Sasa hiyo ndio huwa inakuanga hatari sana sana kwa sisi.
As a result of the global pandemic and the massive reduction in tourist revenue, the Mara Triangle is facing a financial crisis. They need your help if they are to continue their ability to protect this magical land.
I'm Nikki here at andBeyond in Ngala in South Africa. I love getting questions from viewers about all the small things within the environment and how it all is integrated with one another. If you want to ask me any questions, please simply register with the WildEarth website, head across to the live safari page and then post your questions there. I'm looking forward to chatting to you on my next WildEarth drive.
This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Do not be fooled by the warm color palette of the skyline in front of us. The sun is slowly starting to pop up above the horizon, but it is not warm. The color palette is warm, but I can assure you the temperature is not here in Juma Private Game Reserve. It is, of course, your live sunrise safari where the sun goes up in the sky And slowly but surely, I do hope we all get a little bit warmer. We're going to have 2 safari vehicles going live today from Juma and many other locations across South Africa. So please do get ready and please do jump on board with us because it's time for your live bumble through the bush. Good morning, everyone, and welcome on board. If you're still watching, it means you've decided to jump on our safari vehicles with us, which is very good news. This is one half of the Juma feeds. This is, in fact, Team Wendy. My name is Lauren. I do have Darren on camera, and I've already mentioned, so I won't mention again, but it's really cold. I've got my gloves on, so my fingers are not going to entirely freeze, which is good news. And I do have lots of updates for you, so if you did not tune in to last night's sunset safari, we encountered a new male. I could not believe it. I was so discombobulated. Just been with Tavangumi, a young male, and then bumped into an extremely relaxed leopard that I just could not place. At first I thought, is it Kalamba? Small, petite, very relaxed. And I thought, it's not. I just don't know who this leopard is. Am I making a mistake? Am I getting this wrong? Am I being silly? It was very difficult to look for genitalia in infrared as well. And it turns out it is. It's a new male. Thank you to James Richard and everyone who put in effort to try and find out who this male is. We don't have a name for you yet, but it's a young male that was seen in the Timbavati area in March. And there's some really gorgeous photos of him on the Leopards of Juma Facebook page. So you are welcome to go and see photos of him in colour because, of course, we had him in infrared last night. And we are going to keep bumbling right now because that's exactly who I am searching for. I want to see if he's still around. There's so much to say about this young male, but it was really interesting and he was incredibly relaxed, but we just don't have a name for you yet. James Richard and co were all working on it. Second update, Kuchava is pregnant. Yes, I saw her and I thought, that is not a food belly. That's a very low-hanging, sort of lower abdomen belly, where obviously her womb is swollen and not her tummy. Another piece of great news. So we're off to a great start, but of course, I mustn't forget to tell you that this is live. It's happening right now as you see it, and it's interactive, so you can talk to us, and we really want you to. So please send in your comments and questions, jokes, stories, anything you wish, using the hashtag WildEarth on Twitter, or you can use the @FC on the YouTube chat. Last option, you can head over to the WildEarth website. As long as you've registered, you can submit your questions under the live safari page. Choose whichever method pleases you. And kids, if you're watching, I want to hear from you the most. We like the kids the best. So you send your questions in via email. Tell us your name, tell us your age, tell us where you're from. And the email address is kidsquestions@wildearth.tv. There we go. That's how you contact us. So we had him on the western edge of quarantine last night. And he was sort of heading in a southerly direction into the drainage. But it's been a long night. It's been a cold night. I'm sure he's been mobile all night. So I'm going to head down Zoe's, the famous road that Damon and Grant really wanted to see, and see if we can pick up on tracks. Beck, you're hoping to see Tavangumi. Oh, we had him for you last night. There's just a slight tricky thing with Tavangumi's route. He loves Sydney's Dam. He loves one of the sandy patch roads. He loves that northwestern corner. And for some reason, the signal there has always been really what we would call dodgy. Always in the history of WildEarth, we've never been able to go live at Sydney's Dam. And that happens to be Tavangumi's favourite spot. But we had him last night, so you never know, he might be picked up this morning. I just want to see if I can figure out where this young male went. And that just shows you other leopards are around. Maybe this young male was just moving through and maybe we will never see him again. He's small, he's definitely young, not territorial in any way, shape or form. But he was smelling. We watched him for about 5 minutes. Smelling, lemon grimace. We need to know everything about this area through chemical scent, of course. So we may never see him again on Juma, but we might. He might still be around. So I really need to start checking the ground from now. Okay, I've already told you it's extremely chilly, but let's take a look at the weather across all our locations.
Good morning, mobile sessions, and welcome to andBeyond, Ngala's Private Game Reserve, where this morning it's quite misty and a little bit cold, but we want to try and find some lines for you. My name is Ruel, and behind the camera we've got Mpo. Yesterday there was the other part of the Pride that had some cubs with them. They were quite far west of where we are right now, so we're going to carry on driving down this road and see if we get to that area. Maybe we'll be lucky enough to find some tracks and see where they could have gone. However, on our way there, we'll see what else we can find on this very cold morning. It's quite misty, and I think the sun is just starting to come out. Let me just turn around. I think you guys deserve to see this. What I cry? With all the mist and everything that's happening around, I think that gives the sun quite a nice, spectacular golden color. It's quite misty this morning, so I'm not surprised if the camera gets a little bit of a fog every now and then, but that is a beautiful sunrise. It's quite a clear sky as well. It doesn't look like there is any cloud. I'm hoping that it warms up today. It's nice to get a little bit of warmth in these winter mornings, but you can see how it's getting brighter and brighter. That's just the progress of the sun coming out. It's getting bigger. Yeah, Debbie, I think that sky color is exceptionally looking good. Yeah, this is the time of the morning where we start hearing everything else starting to come out. I can already hear some brown-headed parrots and some go-away birds starting to make some noise. All right, everybody, I think let's carry on with our morning plan. I just wanted you guys to get to see the sunrise, even if it was for a brief moment. I'm hearing a brown-headed parrot somewhere. I'm just gonna see if I can see it. The tricky part is that they nest in the holes or in the tree cavities. So sometimes all they have is just their heads popping out and they make the noise. With the silhouette at this time of the day, it's difficult to get to see it. So I hope you guys are as excited as I am. I'm hoping that we find those lions. Last we saw them, they had 7 small babies, 7 cubs, about a few months old. I think the other ones could probably be around 2.5, 3 months or 4, 5 months. Different litters from the different females.
Following up on tracks of a male leopard, but this happens to be my favorite tree in the whole reserve. This is a torchwood, also called balanites by its Latin name, and it is just stunning. Often there's lots of birds, the sunlight's bursting on it, so I'm just going to let you enjoy the scenes of the morning as we watch this balanites tree. I hope you guys find this tree as beautiful as I do. We're going to keep bumbling and hopefully find this leopard.
And welcome to WildEarth. We are live at Eco Training Pridelands and ready to start our bushwalk. We're super excited getting out there. We've heard so many beautiful night sounds in the early part of the morning, and now we want to go and find all those animals. My name is JP LaRue, and behind the camera we've got Craig. So some of the sounds that we heard while we were out there this morning, or the early parts of this morning, was leopard. We also had distant call of lion, and a number of other nocturnal species such as jackal. And meanwhile, we're just going to put the camera on that beautiful sunrise for you to enjoy before we start our walk. Good morning, Natalie, and welcome to her show. Every sunrise is gorgeous. I just can't help myself in the mornings and in the evenings, sunrise and sunsets. That sets the tone of my day, especially if it's accompanied by a steamingly hot cup of coffee in the early morning. So we're going to start our walk now and sit around maybe for a few more seconds and heat ourselves up as it's quite cold. But Jonty would like to say good morning to everyone. So let's go over to Jonty.
Good morning, everybody. It is cold. OD and I are sitting down by the dam, Juma Dam, just listening a little bit, waiting for the sun to break the horizon. We've got this beautiful little kingfisher. Good morning, everybody. My name is Jonty. Like I said, we've got OD on the camera, and we are just enjoying this beautiful sunrise. I would say morning to Ricky, Amelia, and Lambro. Hope you slept well, my angels. Look at that sunrise. It's beautiful. So, Dam Cam, we got an update that there was a leopard calling a bit earlier, and also audio of a male, well, we're assuming it's a male lion. It's a good time to just sit and listen.
We've been trying so hard to stick with one of the raptors that we just found this morning. So if you guys have a look up there, I know it's against the sun, but that is a brown snake eagle that's perched right at the top of that dead tree. He's not been really, he's not really been willing to stick around wherever we are, but that is an amazing eagle to see. Bright yellow eye, quite distinct, prominent, large head. And it's one of the few birds that looks like it's always sitting upright. And in fact, has been my favorite bird for quite a long time. They're quite large eagles. The wingspan is almost 2 meters long and not really that heavy, but now I think early this morning this guy is just sitting on top of these dead trees looking for any potential prey on the ground, these francolins, squirrels, mongoose, anything that could be coming out to get a little bit of warmth from the sun as the sun just came out. And even though it's still quite misty, his eyesight, or that eagle's eyesight, is very good. And you can see, chose a tree that's quite open. It's easier there for him to land with a wingspan that big. It makes it easier to land and take off, and also means that there aren't any branches or leaves that will be obstacles blocking his view. So from up there, probably gets to scan quite a large area around where he's perched. All right, I think let's carry on. Let's let this guy do what he wants to do. So we'll carry on with our plan for the morning. We're still headed out to try and see if we can find those lions for you guys with the cubs. And it's quite interesting because those cubs that these lionesses have are also the offspring of the two Ross males that are the dominant males in the Birmingham Pride. So ironically, that Pride, I think 2014, 2015 was part of the Birmingham Pride, but then the numbers became big. And I think we're sitting around 27, 28 lions altogether. So those lions split up. And what happened is we call that the breakaway Pride. So that's the Pride that split up from the Birmingham Pride. And it's amazing that the Ross males have dominated not only the Birmingham Pride, but also the other half of the Birmingham Pride, which is the Birmingham Breakaway. And when I look at the letters of both prides, they have relatively similar numbers in the cubs and similar age groups as well, which means those males have been mating with both groups. And even though these two groups have not crossed paths in years, I think in almost 4 years or so. So hopefully we get to find them. I'm sure you guys can see how misty it is up front. It's a little bit difficult to see anything that is like maybe 15, 20 meters away from the car. But I guess it's going to have to be a mystery. You'll find it when you get there. Megan, I'm glad you do. I also like it out here. I think it's quite a lovely place to be in, and there's so much that happens, and most of the times. In fact, around this area, there is often there was a nest of two Wahlberg eagles. I'm not sure if we'll get to see them when we drive through. On top of this shambok pod tree there, look at how that southern yellow-billed hornbill is perched. Now you can tell now that it's extremely cold. That bird looks like it's trying to keep as warm as it can. But I think hornbills are beautiful. The black and white color on them is just amazing to watch. And I like the flight pattern. And you know, Disney has made these birds famous. There's quite a lot of mist. I'm sure you guys can see the white in the background behind that tree. All of that is not clouds, it's just mist. And I'm not surprised why that bird looks like it's tucked in, just to keep warm.
Today is no ordinary day. We have many people on the vehicle. We have Dawn, Rial here, and we have Miss Gabby. They are holders of the Ticket to Dream.
It's a very special opportunity for us and a learning experience for Gabby.
My favorite is the wild dog because it's like painted a little bit.
If you want to go on safari with a WildEarth guide, whilst honing your bush knowledge and of course featuring in one of our shows, then head over to our website.
My most favorite part about WildEarth is I have learned so many things and I have become interested in so many things that I never even knew about.
I'm going to ask my friends and my whole class, even my teacher, to go on safari.
We wanted to buy a Ticket to Dream because we wanted our family to have this as a special time in our lives that we can always look back and reflect on. This is a dream to be here.
Across Southern and East Africa, the Endangered Wildlife Trust works tirelessly to save species, protect critical habitats, and benefit people. Join the EWT in returning wildlife to the wild. Go to ewt.org.za to find out more and follow our socials to see how you can get involved. Protecting forever, together.
My name is Ross and I'm a field guide at andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. I love getting questions from guests on WildEarth because I love sharing and learning information about nature with new people, and it also makes me feel like you're all joining me in real life. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, go to our live safari page and submit your question below our live feed.
Guys, just watch what's happening. See, watch the elephants, watch the lions. See, the first ones to run are the cubs. Can you see them? They are right here. I'm not sure how scared you were, but I was quite nervous. But absolutely incredible.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
We're still admiring a beautiful sunrise and at the same time some leadwood trees right in front of us. I can never help to wonder how old these trees are, as they can get up to well over 1,000 years of age. Another thing that I find quite fascinating is even when these trees die, but they can still stand for approximately 100 or so years. And these tests has been done with carbon dating to determine the age of decay. However, there's very few things that will actually be able to break them down because the wood is so hard and dense that not even termites will be able to feed on them. We've also find quite often that at a number of Iron Age sites in South Africa, which predates more than 800 years of age, that there was actually still implements found that is perfectly intact, that has been made from leadwood pieces. These are often handles as well as hoes, and hoes were specifically used for digging in the fields, and leadwood was a perfect substitute for when you didn't have a sufficient amount of iron to produce the necessary tools which you needed. One of these sites is a site in the northern parts of Limpopo province, which is known as Mapungubwe, also known as the Hill of a Jackal. It's quite famous for the golden rhino that they actually found there, and it's really a worthwhile visit if you are keen on archaeology. To come back to the tree, there's a number of other interesting uses for the tree. One of those are it makes exceptionally beautiful furniture. However, the trees are protected, and you do need special permission if you are going to remove a leadwood. The reason why they became protected species was specifically because they were so hard and durable, and one of the uses therefore was specifically for railway sleepers. In this area, there's a number of railway lines, which is very well known. One of these is known as the Salati railway line, and on the edge of this railway line, we still find remnants of old leadwood sleepers that is barely decayed. The tree is also also used for a number of medicinal purposes, and one of those is that you can often take the leaves, dry that, and then burn it, and that's quite often used for treating coughs and colds. And on top of that, the flowers can also be used for making a cough mixture. Good morning, Sila, and welcome to the show. With regards to your question, does leadwoods only occur in South Africa? They're not endemic to South Africa only. I have seen them in Zimbabwe and in Botswana as well, where they often occur amongst major river systems where we find them, or near water bodies. Well, we're going to continue with our walk and go and see what we can go and find. As we continue, let's go and see what the team in Juma can offer.
Okay, so we've moved on from the dam. We didn't hear anything, but I've come on to check this cut line because Tingana was found late last night. I haven't seen him yet. It would be very cool to see him. And he was at Long Pole, which is up on to our right, and he was seen heading sort of south and west. So that's towards this cut line. I'm trying to... Aubrey has been out. So yesterday, Darren and I tracked Dark Mane Avoca. He went past Sydney's dam into Manuleti, but during the night he's actually come back. So there's tracks of him heading back south. So quite a lot happening up in this little corner of Juma this morning. It's just up to us to try and find them. And that's no problem. So let me check. This is the road up here. This goes up to Long Pole. So I just want to look carefully here. And see if there's any tracks crossing out here. There's old tracks of the lions that were here the other day. Okay, nothing yet, so that's fine. Let's keep going along here. If we get nothing along here, it might be worth doing one quick little loop into Buffelshoek. But it sounds like it's been quite difficult recently with Tingana because his movements have become a bit more erratic. It could have something to do with his age. Maybe he's starting to just move around a bit more and become less territorial and let some of the younger males establish themselves. You do see that with leopards as they get older. I think they maybe become a bit wiser. They don't have to tussle it out with the young bucks anymore. They can just chill and move around. I wonder, we might make it to Sandy Patch OD. Let's fingers crossed. So this loop I've done basically every drive the last few days. And then he popped out behind me with Lauren last night. But he did go, we last saw him heading north over Sydney's dam wall, but you never know, he might turn around and come back. Ah, and there's the Drakensberg. Yeah, I can... and Amelia and little Lambro. So we're just going to check slowly here. You're going to head over to Ngala.
I must say, it's been quite an amazing morning with the amount of bird life that's been happening around here. Sorry, this is the area where these lions were yesterday. And we've got tracks here that are headed down. So we'll keep checking further down here to see where they could have gone. So this is good. So the bird life has been crazy, and I just saw a pearl spotted owlet that just took off. And I've been hearing every rose eagle owl, but that sounds like it's quite far in a distance. So hopefully we get to find these lions while we find some nice birds this morning. It looks like the tracks are still headed down the road, and they're headed in a westerly direction. So I'm going to take a proper look at these tracks, see if we can figure out which way they could have gone. So we'll send you guys to Juma with Lauren, see what they have that side.
Lauren is still trying to get her facial muscles to work. It's so cold, everybody. Ugh. Anyway, we followed June. We have just had the most wonderful sighting of June. Walking all the way down Zoe's Road, smelling something. Following that tracks of that young male, I think. They smell leopard and they know immediately leopard can equal food. And the impala were not happy to see June. I was happy to see her, but the impala were definitely not happy. So she went across to what we call Mendoza Road. James used to call it the Road of Nothing, but we found that Nkohuma's on that road, so it's not the Road of Nothing anymore. But I'm wondering whether that's going to be a good road to check. So we just looked round and we're going to check the Road of not always nothing, sometimes something. Or we could just say Mendoza, and that makes a lot more sense. Johnsy and I were talking last night. I'm sure you'll all remember when we had the camera traps here. It was a Panthera project by a beautiful girl called Lucy, one of my friends. And she put camera traps everywhere, not just in the northern sector, but she staggered it and went to all the other sections of the Sabi Sands as well. And of course the camera trap at night time goes off when it's alerted to a body, when there's movement. So there's a lot of photos of scrub hares and impala, but there's a lot of photos of other things. And it was unbelievable going through those results with her. I'm sure Tristan mentioned this a lot at the time as well. He used to update everyone on what was seen on the camera traps. Nocturnal animals in such high density. amounts of genet, unbelievable amounts of wildcats. When do we see wildcats? And lots of unknown leopards. Can you believe it? And that's why when you are following tracks and you say, this is Shadulu. Is it though? Yes, it's Shadulu's road. Yes, there's a high chance it could be her, but there's a lot of movement, especially with young males. Leopards that we really don't know are here. And they're maybe just here for the briefest time, and then we never see them again. But the number of unknown leopards on Juma, even John T was saying Mala Mala, it's unbelievable. They're caught in the camera trap, but that's it. We don't see them. And that's probably why when we follow a lot of tracks, we don't always sort of end up with a successful result, because you're following an unhabituated, unidentified individual that's no longer around. But that young male last night was extremely relaxed to the point where he just walked right up to the car. So you never know. Maybe he might have found a juicy impala and he's still on the property. So I'm going to search really, really hard for him, high and low. But camera traps are a great tool as long as they're non-invasive. They don't affect the animal's behavior or the animal's activities or daily patterns in any way. They're a really fantastic tool for science and learning about a habitat, particularly inaccessible habitats. This is very accessible. But for maybe forests like the Hyenas forest in Ethiopia, there's a lot of unknown areas in that forest that have not been explored. So if at least you could get in and possibly put up a few camera traps, that would deliver a lot of information. Okay, there's no tracks on this road of leopards at least, lots of elephant tracks. So he's not came this way. And this is Mendoza. The road of nothing. Are you going to show us that you're not the road of nothing today? One hopes. I don't really know why James called it that, you know. I start to go a little stir crazy sometimes in the bush. It's actually a really nice road. We just don't see anything on it. Elton, can I just check you're still there? It's a little bit quiet on your end. Just going to stop and give you a little view over here. We're just sitting admiring the views of the bush in the morning, hoping to hear some sawing of a leopard which would indicate his position. So let's all just sit here and listen to the sounds of the bush. No leopard saws, I'm afraid, but still it's beautiful to just sit here and listen to all the birds singing their morning call. We've just stopped to listen, everyone, and unfortunately I'm not getting the chance to wipe my nose here, so I'm going to have to do it live, I'm afraid. There we go. Terribly sorry about that, everyone, but it is streaming. There we have, done and dusted. All right, Dazza. I'm going to keep searching this road. It's actually a really beautiful road. I don't understand why we don't see more on it. I didn't catch that name, but I'm really not sure. It's cold, cold, cold. I think maybe the coldest I've experienced it. Maybe about 6. I'm sure it was 6 during the CGTN show. That's degrees Celsius. Fortunately, my brain does not do Fahrenheit. But I remember John Dre once telling me it went below 0 in this area at one time. I don't know what year that was. But it does get really cold. Not quite as cold as it would get in the Northern Cape, nearby Tswalu. But it really gets cold. The summers are hot and the winters are cold. 2 very different extremes. But it warms up nice and quickly, and what's so beautiful about a South African winter is the days are pleasant. They're not sunbathing weather, but they're pleasant. The skies are still blue, the sun is still up high in the sky, whereas Scotland, the winters are not pleasant at any point throughout the day. Autumn is nice, but then once you hit winter, it is just grey, cold skies. So I have to say I would choose a South African winter any day. But it still does get cold. I don't see any tracks, so he's not necessarily walked down this road, but he could, of course, walk through the block. They might not be on the property at all, everyone, but I just want to do a really thorough check for him. Do you get a terrible one? I love birding. Someone once described the bush to me as, it's like an orange, I guess. And when you first go there, you'll start learning about the obvious things, of course, the lions, the leopards, the hyenas, the predators. And then slowly but surely you'll peel back that layer. And then you'll start learning about possibly the vegetation and how the vegetation interplays in this ginormous, complex ecosystem. Then you'll peel back that layer and you'll start to learn about the birds. And there's a tiger. It's probably going. It's already ran away. And I have to say, once my bird layer peeled back, I am just absolutely fascinated by birds. I think they're incredible. They're very difficult. I've got it wrong many, many times. So I would say I'm a birder in that I'm passionate, but am I a good one? No. I'm honest enough to say I'm not. It takes time, it takes practice. And really, I need time. I just need time to look through my binos and say, that's the bird. So yes, I'm a birder, but a really bad one. I hope that answers your question. Once you peel back all the layers, you really start to get into the interconnectivity of it all. Yesterday, I was speaking about groundwater. There's so much going on than just what meets the eye. And I really think it's important that you dig deep into that once you've peeled back all the layers, once you've got to the core of that orange. You know what I mean? And just sort of the wolves of Yellowstone. It's a famous example, but it's a perfect example. The eradication of all the wolves from Yellowstone long ago had such a negative impact on that ecosystem. And it wasn't just the prey, it wasn't just the sort of elk and all the other species. It affected the bears, it affected the beavers, it affected the vegetation. Then it affected the river system and the ways that the rivers flowed. How can wolves affect river systems? And I think once you really dig deeply into that story and understand how connected everything in nature really is, it opens your eyes to how we really can't just isolate. And I do try on my drives not to just isolate things, always talk about how things are connected. Even the oceans are connected. Yes, we're in the low veld of South Africa, but any sort of adverse effect on the oceans nearby will have an adverse effect on this ecosystem, like a domino effect. And I think it's important that we always remember that. At one point in time, science was very much sort of isolated. This is one ecosystem, this is another ecosystem, but they're related. We need to look more into how they all affect one another. And the wolves of Yellowstone really is the most perfect example. We did have an African hawk eagle for you earlier, but it flew off. It looked rather miserable and rather cold, I must say. Are you all enjoying the Road of Nothing? Yes. Soft sand, let me just pull over. Aha, I have a track, looks like a female though, it's definitely not our young boy. It's a female leopard track. Mendoza Road, you are really proving yourself to be not the road of nothing. This boy hasn't walked along this road, unfortunately. Jenny, 100% hyenas hunt. Do you think the entire Juma clan can survive on scavenging? No way. Especially not with their substantial body mass. Hyenas 100% hunt. They're just incredibly resourceful, and that's another reason that I love them. They will scavenge, so will all the predators. We see Darkmane. He stole from Tandy the other day. Tlalamba stole from Tandy. All the predators will steal, especially in winter when times are tough. It's cold now. Resources are not so plentiful. And hyenas are just remarkably good at it. They're just patient. But they absolutely do hunt. And we caught a hunt on the dam cam. I can't remember what hyena it was now. I'm having a bit of a mind blank. But right in front of the dam cam, one of our male hyenas caught a diker. Of course they hunt. We just don't see it. It's a very difficult environment. It's very thick. But if you go up to the Masai Mara, you'll see hyena hunts regularly. The North Clan, watching them hunt was really quite something. 10 hyenas all running after a zebra or a wildebeest. Wow. I'm just looking up all the termite lands, all the trees. If this young boy does go south, if he crosses Gowrie Main, he's going to meet a lot of competition, I must say. So one hopes he's still here in Juma. So I'm going to continue my search of the Road of Nothing, and hopefully I get lucky.
The Wildlife and Environment Society of South Africa, WESA, encourages people to care for the earth. Through innovative projects, they aim to reverse the serious issues that we face in the world today. One of these projects is Green Coast, a proudly South African award for sensitive and well-managed coastal sites. This sustainability project protects our national coastlines while providing unemployed youth with a love for their environment and a hope for the future. WESA is a membership and volunteer-supported organisation. Every supporter is helping to change the only earth we have. Visit our website to see how you can help care for our earth.
I love being a cam-up for WildEarth. The animals coming right up close to you, especially like lions. Sometimes you get nervous, but you have to go with the flow. My favorite animal to film is the elephant because of how big it is. But when it's really up close to you, it's one animal that you would say, I really respect you.
We have a baby pangolin, a baby pangolin. This is off the charts. This animal is about from your fingertips to your elbow. That's the total length of this animal. This is unreal. This is unreal. This is unreal. This is like now my 4th Christmas in a week. We should do this more often.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
We are busy sunning ourselves, enjoying the company of this beautiful tree squirrel. So we did a bit of a loop into Buffelshoek. We did find some leopard tracks, but they head into an area where unfortunately we don't have. It would have been very tough to follow. So we've looped back to my favourite stomping ground, Sandy Patch Road. And we're just joining these. There were 2 or 3 squirrels on this tree, but now there's just one that's busy sunning himself. One keeps poking its head out every now and again. But I must say it is nice after driving for a while to sit here and watch the squirrel. You kind of appreciate how nice and warm the sun is. This one was doing some proper stretching just now. I think I even saw the downward facing squirrel. And there's another one. Seeing this buffalo thorn in front. Oh no. That squirrel's just hidden from us. It's a bit, you just see the movement in the grass. The different seasons, I suppose the way it affects it is you kind of will get into tune with. You see it down on the bottom left there, Odie. So their behavior might shift a little bit just based on the temperatures. So like in winter they might start getting active a little bit later in the morning, a little bit earlier in the afternoon. So you could, I suppose you aim where you're going to go look in those sort of bands of activity. In summer it can be tricky because the grass is so much more lush. There's so much more vegetation. But in that way it also helps because the animals will then, they might use the roads a little bit more and stick on game paths as it gets drier and drier now. It's a bit easier for them to walk wherever they want. I suppose you kind of think now, as we are doing now with these squirrels, just enjoying the morning sun, you imagine that looking for a leopard, you'd expect to find them lying on top of these termite mounds. You know, just sunning themselves after a long night in the cold. Yeah, these squirrels are very, very cute. I do love them. When I was a training guide at Ngala, in the cutthroat world of being a training guide, you kind of start at the bottom of the pile and work your way up. And a squirrel, I don't know, they found it in the kitchen, a baby squirrel. And I took this little squirrel under my wing. That's weird. Impala just did one random snort next to us. And I bottle fed the squirrel and raised it. I called him Chuck. Where are these impalas looking? I'm just trying to see what these impala... Well, the one that's shouting is looking towards this termite mound that we are parked next to. It's so funny, and when one alarms, the others all get sort of really, really antsy, but they're looking at us. Maybe there's something right here, but the fact that these squirrels are still chilling. It does happen where impala will sometimes get just like we do, they might see something that they think is a predator, and it's better for them to alarm call than not. And then they make sure what it is, and then if it's not one, then they're obviously very happy. If it is one, they might start shouting a little bit more. I think that's what's happened in this case. But yeah, I was just saying about old Chuck. So I bottle fed him, and he became like he was my big friend. I used to go drive and learn roads with him. He would sit on my shoulder when I'd walk around camp, hop around the front of the car. We're just going to sit here for a little bit longer. You're going to head over to Lauren.
No leopard tracks, I'm afraid. But look at the scene in front of us. Wow. I mean, that is really quite mind-blowing. The sun's now high enough that the mist is rising. See that? You're looking north. You're looking sort of up to Bufusuk cut line and then into Bufusuk with this view. Warm air rises, cold air sinks. And you can see the mist is now rising and then eventually will evaporate. It's stunning. Now I am a bit perplexed. I just heard on the Eastern Channel, which really doesn't work very well for us, but we try to pick up keywords, that the little Gauri Misi Kaya is active. I don't know where the Misi Kaya is on Little Gauri, but I'm on the way to the Juma Misi Kaya. You ready, Darren? Misi Kaya is hyena home, aka hyena den. I wonder if the Juma clanners are down there. Is that possibly why we're not really seeing them here? I mean, there's hyena tracks everywhere, on every single road. But I'm going to try and investigate Little Gauri Misi Kaya. I'm going to ask them to send me some photos. I'm the strange Meesy lady. I'm going to take that as a compliment, though. The Meesy lady. Oh, what's that? Dogs? Is that dogs? Oh my goodness. Okay, we need to follow. My goodness, okay. Okay, I'm just going to slow down in case any more are coming. Doggies, wait for me. Okay, nobody knows they're on the property. Am I going to be able to relocate them again? That's a good question. Are you holding on, Darren? Have you seen them? Okay, yeah, they're in the block. That's going to be tricky. We're heading right to the hyena den as well. FC, we may need a bit of time to try and relocate these canids. Not travelled on the road that went into this block. Stations, we've just located Madash running down south on Weaver's Nest. We've lost visual for now, but they're highly mobile. I'm going to do my best to try and find these dogs, but for now, over to Rule.
If you guys look carefully at the top of that somewhat dead tree, there is a pearl-spotted owlet that we can see from here. Quite a beautiful little bird to see, and most people know that owls are active at night. This is one of the few that also is known to move around during the day looking for food, insects and rodents, whatever it can find, lizards and all that stuff. I think it's rather a beautiful bird to get to see. They're very small. If you look now that with its head turned, there's a black spot behind the head there that we just had a quick glimpse of. So they are famous for having two little spots behind the head that look like eyes, sort of to confuse enemies when they're facing the other way. It looks like they've got eyes and it looks like they're looking the opposite direction. So not knowing which way that owl is actually looking. But in reality, they've got very small, bright yellow eye. It's quite beautiful. You can see the eyes behind the head there. Looks like it's quite busy cleaning itself there. You can see it looks like it's cleaning the feathers. Looks like it tucked itself under the wings.
So we are just stopped to look at this herd of impala. They all got their heads up, but not shouting at anything, but they're certainly alert. It could be sort of a couple minutes ago when we were on another road, there was an impala alarming, but it was a false alarm. It might have just got these ones alert, but it's always worth, as those doves just flew through here so fast. It's always worth just sort of watching. The bush is a place to move slowly through. If you go fast, you often miss things. So we're just going nice and slow, taking our time and listening and taking in what the animals are sort of telling us. It's a beautiful scene. Their coats look amazing in this morning light. All looking well groomed and ready for the day.
Good morning and welcome back to Bushwalk. We covered quite a lot of distance this morning as we responded to the alarm calls of a kudu in the distance. However, it unfortunately has stopped. We were really hoping that we were going to find either a leopard or maybe a lion that might have disturbed it. But we were also equally surprised to find this golden orb-web spider that's still around. Almost in the heart of winter, we generally find that they disappear by April already. And with the cold temperatures, they battle to survive. So quite often these spiders are confused with a very similar looking spider which is known as a garden orb-web spider. But if you look at the abdomen of a golden orb-web, it's rounded and oblong in shape and smooth compared to that of the garden orb-web spider, that has a much more rounded but angular abdomen. So we also find quite often that these spiders make incredibly big wagon wheel shaped webs where they wait for insects to fly in. There's even records of birds as small as blue wax balls that got stuck inside there and was being predated on by these spiders. We also often find that the spiders do predate on the males. Males are incredibly tiny in comparison to that of a female, and they'll quite often will sit on the edge of a web, and they will quite often indicate that they want to mate and then try and get out there before they also become a meal. Something else that I find particularly interesting is that another group of spiders, which we often find in association with these golden orb-web spiders, is known as dewdrop spiders. They too are incredibly small in size, and they've got these most beautiful pearl or dewdrop abdomens which reflects in the light. And their function is just simply to come and steal food from the female golden orb-web. So they're classically known as kleptoparasites. So klepto means to steal and parasite obviously to parasitize. And they're just always awaiting for a free meal. And this waste that this female has left behind after she has fed. We're going to leave our spider. We're going to continue and see if we can find anything about where our kudu is and where it's made a disturbance. Good morning, Debbie. Not often, but I have. And I've found 2 adults in one web before, females, which was quite strange. But generally, we find that there is a female with a number of males inside that web. And also quite often the dewdrop spiders that will associate with them. But very, very seldom that you're going to find 2 females close by to one another. There's always some form of exception to the rule when it comes to nature, and you might read a large amount of different books and hear a number of different interesting topics that people discuss. But for me, one of the most fascinating things is always finding those little exceptions. We're going to move on and let's go and see what the other teams have on offer.
All right, so we had to change the plan up a little bit. When we had those tracks of the lionesses and the cubs, it looked like they were from sometime early last night, and it was a bit difficult to figure out which way they could have cut off. We just heard reports, however, in the south of an unrelaxed leopard that has a carcass up the tree, and I'm just thinking maybe from a distance we might be lucky enough to get a view of this leopard. So we're gonna start making our way in that direction. We'll keep our fingers crossed, and hopefully when we get there, this leopard will give us at least a view from a distance. I would still like to do some birding along the way though. It is quite nice. I was hoping that in this open area we might get to see some ostrich. It's quite common that we get to find ostrich in this sort of area. Actually, you're asking what is the biggest prey I have seen a leopard catch. I've seen a leopard, I think the biggest so far would have to be a female kudu. And unfortunately that leopard did not have the pleasure of finishing the kudu carcass because he did not hoist it. But I've seen a male leopard catch a female kudu, which was quite spectacular to watch. I think it's one of the few times I've actually got to see a leopard kill something. It's not always that we get lucky to see these cats on the hunt or making a kill, because most of the times they hunt in the evenings. Remember, they are nocturnal and they hunt mostly at night. Sometimes when a female has got cubs, then most of the time she will hunt during the day, because in the evening it's quite risky to leave the cubs unattended, and also because she needs to constantly keep coming back to the den to make sure that the cubs are still safe. And in some cases it's that the leopard's hunts become unsuccessful for a lot of days in a row, and that gets too hungry, and then eventually decides to also hunt during the day until it makes a kill. So it's only on those few occasions that we actually get to see these leopard kills and all that. In most cases, we come in the morning and the leopard is hunted, killed, and hoisted the carcass up the tree. Sometimes very early morning or late evening is also when we get lucky that the leopard moves earlier. All right, we'll send you guys over to Jonty in Juma, and we'll carry on down to see if we can find this leopard for you guys.
Jeepers, that must have been quite something to see. A leopard taking down a female kudu. So we're now on the Triple M break. The dark main to down Beely. There's Lauren. Okay, copy. So she had the...
Right. So on the other side from where we are, actually, this road takes us directly to where this leopard was found. I'm not sure whether it's a male or a female, or whether it's a large male and large female, what's happening there. I guess we'll have to find out when we get there. I do know, however, that this leopard is up the tree. It is up a marula tree, to be precise, and it has that impala carcass. So I am hoping that when we get there, we'll figure out which one it is, where does it come from, why is it unrelaxed. It might be because there, it's quite close to the boundary road, so it might even be a new leopard that has just moved in from a different part that is not used to vehicles or anything like that, or otherwise it could just be a skittish leopard. But seeing a leopard up the tree, I really think that is rather a great deal of a leopard sighting, because most people know, and everybody knows, that leopards are exceptionally great tree climbers, and most of the times we get to see leopards on the ground and we get to see them moving about in the bushes. But it's not always that we get to see a leopard up the tree, even though leopards are famous for climbing up trees. And I think having the privilege to get a sighting where you actually see a leopard up the tree is beautiful. On that dead tree, it looks like there is a kingfisher. I'm not sure if we zoom in a little bit. There we go. It looks like a brown-hooded kingfisher. It's always nice to see those guys out here. It's one of the few kingfishers that are quite common all year round. That and the striped kingfisher you get to see throughout the year. Most of the other kingfishers, the woodlands, the African pygmy, the pieds, they're all migratory, so they come in and out of our property with the different seasons, and these guys are here all year round, so it's always nice to get to see that.
WildEarth knows it is critical to help as many young people as possible to connect with the natural world. We hope that by bringing the wilderness to our future conservationists, we will inspire a love for nature and perhaps plant a seed which will flourish in the future. Over the years, kids from countries all over the world have joined us on safari.
I really enjoyed learning about the leopards and the cubs and how they hunt and live.
We got to see different types of antelopes, and we also saw our male lion's tracks.
I got to learn about like different types of animals in their natural habitats.
It was like we were on a real safari, so it was kind of cool. We got to see a lot of unique animals.
That whole safari live video just inspired me to fulfill my dream of becoming a safari guide as well.
Hi everybody, I'm Tiana, I'm from Johannesburg, and I am one of WildEarth's biggest fans.
Been watching for 4 years, DG here from the Ozarks.
It's been 4 years for me, and I'm not leaving anytime soon.
It's given me a time away from the hassles of the city, and it's given me a connection to a place that has stolen my heart, which is Africa.
Last year we lost our son, and now we're just watching WildEarth. Love to all you guys.
You are reminding us of the role that we play in nature conservation, each and every one of us. You have reconnected myself to a dream that I had as a child to get involved in nature conservation, and for that I'm really grateful for as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
My name is Lauren, and I'm currently working in Djuma Private Game Reserve here in South Africa. I love answering your questions during the live safaris. It's my favorite part. It feels like you're on the vehicle with me, and I'm able to teach you exactly what you want to know. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, you must go to the live safari page and ask your question below the live. You're bunda bashing for dogs, then you find a leopard. I don't know who it is. I haven't seen the face yet. We were bashing through those bushes, weren't we, Darren? We saw hyenas everywhere. Apparently they're on quarantine, so John T will be racing to see the doggies, and we've come across this leopard. Hello, who are you? Looking skinny, whoever it is. I think it's female. Standing very still, I imagine stalking. That was just absolute chaos with those dogs. We were following the hyenas. The dogs are too fast for us, but we can just zoom into that face. There's definitely a female. Yes, we're following the hyenas, not the dogs. I can't keep up with the dogs. And we got this leopard. Okay, Darren, are you ready once again to off-road? We're just on Shibamo Road, south of Treehouse. And this leopard is stalking. I must say, what a morning. I'm glad I had 2 cups of coffee. I'm not going to block this leopard's view naturally. Just looking for something to eat. Okay, I think we might get a nice view now. Definitely a female. If any of you can ID this female, please do let me know. I need to get a look at the face front on. Look at that tail. We're very close to Gowrie, Main. That's my only concern. I don't want to lose her. Let's move Jazza. If she crosses back over, we won't be able to follow. Can you work with this? Poor Darren's putting the antenna back up. It's one of those mornings, everybody. Sorry, Elton, one more time, I missed that. Okay, don't go back that way, girl. Don't go that way. No, dear.
going to try our very best to keep up with this leopardess. For now, over to roll.
All right, we have arrived in that area where that leopard was seen with the carcass, and I can already see in one of these trees here there is an eagle. Looks like a tawny eagle, which is known to scavenge as well on carcasses. And I'm just thinking, I want to see which tree this carcass is up. Oh, it's actually a bachelier flying off. I'm going to check the next section of marula trees. If not, I'm going to turn around and head down back there where there's quite a few. I think there's like 3 or 4. So let's send you guys back to Lauren and see if we'll work out where this carcass is.
Apparently it's Moya. Thank you, James Richard. I thought it's older. At first I thought Langa, just due to the location and where we are in the reserve, but she has that low hanging belly. Shows that she's given birth. She's much older. She's got lots of notches in her ears as well. And apparently it's Moya. Ah, my first time meeting her. This is wonderful news. Thank you, James, as always. Okay, she's gone into the quarry where we used to find Hosanna and Shangili here a lot. I don't know if I can get down this way without killing my cameraman. Let me just have a look. I think I can. Shall we try it, Darren? It's not that steep. I like a challenge when you're all safe. How's it looking on your side, Darren? Okay, we're going to try our very best to stay alive, and we're going to send you over to Johnsy on a mission.
Okay, everyone, so we've just done a bit of rally driving to get into this area. The dogs have been relocated, and they're last seen heading this direction. We're on Twin Dams Road now. So you might hear me talking on the radio, but we're just looking sharp now to see. We might see impalas running, we might see dogs running. I might drive a little bit and then switch off and listen to see if we can hear something. Yeah, but they went up and down. We first started gunning it, they were going south. Then we heard they were by Juma Dam, then quarantine. So it's tricky. You got to try pick the right road in, and then just as we were arriving, they got mobile again. There's a vehicle trying to stay with them. Charles, come in. Have you still got visual?
I'll give it a rest. Just switch off your vehicle.
So we're just listening. Shall I try one more? Sounds like it's far up here, eh, Odie?
Yeah. Lauren. John Gina, can you help me well, Lauren, with English?
I heard her say, I think a small pan just north of Gari, Maine, south of Treehouse. That's the only update I got.
Yeah, I'm right here, so I'm not sure where exactly it is.
Okay, copied. Yeah, so I think she's just currently on air. She'll get back to you shortly. Where have these dogs gone? So I'm just going to turn and face us this way and ask Charles to give another rev.
John, do you want your help?
I'm on Twin Dams, south of the junction with Quarantine Road.
Okay, copy. Maybe about 400 meters, 300 meters to the south of that junction. We're just into the block to the west of that road. If you switch off your car, I'll just give you a buzz.
Copied. So we're just listening. Okay, copied. I've got your audio. I'll start making my way towards you in the block. Are they stationary?
No, negative. Heading north-eastwards. So basically, I think heading towards your vehicle.
Okay, copied. So the dogs have turned around again now. They're heading north. So I could hear the other vehicle. They're up on our right here. I'm going to go back a little bit further. If you said they're heading northeast, they'll come out behind us. Yo, chaos. This is why I love the dogs. It's complete and utter pandemonium. So just going to keep looking on our left here now. What we want to see is either, obviously to see the dogs is first prize, but you want to see impalas come bolting out of here, because then we'll know the dogs are close by. But he sounded quite far in the block. I might just...
They crossed this road. They're heading straight towards Juma Cancer.
Okay, copied. So they're heading towards the camp now. Now we've got to warm it up a little bit. So hold on, everyone. This is like one of the best parts of being a guide, is that you get to drive like Colin McRae. So we're going to try loop around and get in the front of them.
If you guys look, there is a hyena at the base of that tree, and you can see it keeps looking up. This is where the leopard was, and I think because of the hyena, the leopard could have decided to get out of harm's way. But what's interesting here, look at how that hyena is looking at the carcass up there. And I'm just hoping, as I've seen in most situations like this, where the hyena decides to just jump and see if he can grab onto something. Because if that hyena jumps and manages to grab just on the hoof or on that leg that's hanging off the carcass, it's not going to let go. And I can almost guarantee that it's going to be strong enough to pull that carcass down. I think this is the time where the hyena truly wishes that it could have the ability to climb up a tree. It would be so much easier, because he can smell the carcass and can also see it. I think he'd almost taste it, but it's just that it's out of reach for this young hyena. Looking at that carcass, we can all see that that impala has got some horns, so it is a male impala, and it looks like that leopard has fed quite a bit, so hopefully he'll come back.
So thanks to Charles, we managed to catch up with the dogs again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now there looks like there's 12. Looks like there's 12, eh? So if there's a bit of calm, they might go and drink a little bit. There's often impala in this open area here. When we came through quarantine open area, there's a lot of impala there. Let's go a bit closer so we can watch them over the water. Sorry, Charles. We might get a cool shot of them drinking here. Those ones are here looking at the hippo. Hopefully they do kind of settle. Yeah, there's one right in. Let's try and get a proper count of them. I'm so glad, James. It's so cool to be able to have these 2 drives in a row now. But the direction they're going to go, we're going to have to work, that's for sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, I can see 12 dogs now. This is also... Okay, I'm going to start driving. Let's see what happens here now. It's incredible how much distance they cover, and they look like they're still keen to move. Amanda, you're not wrong. It's certainly a wow morning, especially here in Juma. Things are hotting up. It's crazy how fast they cover this ground, how quickly they move. Yeah, and we're obviously limited to the roads. Here comes one right next to us here. We can drive off-road, but we're completely hindered. We go so slowly. Whereas they can kind of trot at this speed, whether they're on the road or going through the block. Look at these ones. These ones are kind of leading the charge. So we're going to have dogs coming from behind us as well. That's fine. I want to just stay with these front runners. You never know. They might actually turn south again. If they do, I'm just going to pull over so Odie can get a shot. If they turn south again, we know we saw all those impala in the open air in quarantine. Here comes a dog going to come right past me on the right here. Will often be the alpha pair, or the alpha male, but in this case we don't know who. Well, I must say, now that there's 12, we started off seeing 6, then 10, now 12. So I'm not sure if we've seen different packs each time or if they keep merging with different youngsters. I'm just going to stop here. They're going to come running past the car here. But often it will be the adults that lead. Yo, look at this one's face. That's pretty unique, eh? She's got a bite mark out of her side. That looks like a... Yo, she's got quite a scraggly tail. I haven't seen that one before the last few days. She'll be certainly unique. She's got a piece missing out of her top lip. So just her teeth sticking out. And this something like that, American. And this one at the back has also got quite a unique tail with that black stripe through it. So it will normally be the adults that lead the hunt, and you'll have the sort of youngsters trailing behind. But as the youngsters get older, then they become more and more active participants in the hunt. Just at the moment, we are just flipping, holding on. Odie's gonna need a massage after this. David, we're very fortunate to be able to stay with them while they're on the move like this. But what's great is you see how they always trot, stop, turn, look behind them. They're constantly alert. Just move my head out of the way. It really is a great privilege. We do have another vehicle with us here, so we might do a bit of leapfrogging to make sure everyone keeps getting a nice view. So we've just let the other car go and have a view ahead of us, and then we'll take the next chance to get in front of them. But it makes a big difference when there's 2 or 3 vehicles actually in a wild dog sighting, especially when they're moving like this, because if they go off-road, you want one car to try and stay with them, and then the others can loop around and catch them as they come out. But when you're by yourself, it's very, very difficult. So I must say, I don't recall seeing that female with that lip ever before in the reserve or the properties further south from here. Odie was saying he thinks he's seen her before. So I don't know if any of the viewers who are watching, maybe you can recognize that lady with her snaggletooth. It's interesting, Ashal. There's been 3... Each day there's been more dogs. It's cool, eh? No. Okay, cheers, man. Okay. So let's see. So now we're on in Vubu Road. And they're heading north. I wonder if they're just going to keep on going. It's tough. During the last few years, Rusty's speedometer has ceased to work, but I don't know, we're probably going at around 15 kilometers an hour, and they just hold this trot. It's amazing. Okay, so it seems like there's a bit of a packs are merging, which is some from a dispersal from the Pungwe pack. It is amazing. I heard a rumor, I don't know, there's these things you never know, that one of the packs was denning on southern parts of Dudley. So this is a very strong pack. You know, if there's 12 like this, if they breed and have puppies, very soon to be a pack in the sort of high 20s. Very formidable. I hope they stop when we get up onto the Gari Buffels or cut line, because it will be fantastic to watch them run down that long straight road. Yeah, Chris, that's kind of, so you get dispersal. Let me just move out of the way so Charles can also get a look. The youngsters from a pack, when they sort of get to the age where they want to go and set up their own pack, they will disperse and then meet up with other youngsters. And that's generally how a pack will be formed and then started. So they just stopped here to listen around. Amazing how all of these different 12 sets of ears listening in different directions. So we're very close now to that cut line. So you can notice the burned area on our right. That is the fire break. I'm going to go through onto the cut line, and we can hopefully see them pop out. But the way they're moving, I think they're going to be... I think go and run down the road. Be legends. Look at that. They're all on the road there. Whoa. There's a much bigger hole than I thought here. So we're just going to enjoy them walking up the road here.
The annual Safari Guide of the Year competition aims to create awareness for those men and women who dedicate their lives to tourism and wildlife. This year's event will be held at Marataba, a breathtaking privately managed section of the Marakele National Park in South Africa's Limpopo province. In celebration of this, WildEarth and Marataba Luxury Lodges are offering all explorers a chance to win a 3-night stay at Marataba Safari Lodge for you and a friend. In addition to a spectacular land-based safari, Marataba Luxury Lodges offer an opportunity for guests to cruise peacefully along the Matlabas River, watching the animals as they drink and wallow. The lodge offers you a chance to lie by the pool or enjoy a spa treatment, and one night could be spent sleeping out under the stars in a luxurious treehouse. Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer before the 30th of June, and it could be you heading off on a long-awaited getaway. WildEarth Explorers. It's in your nature. For many years, WildEarth has taken viewers from around the world to the Mara Triangle, a place of majestic beauty and abundant wildlife. But it wasn't always like this. Before 2001, it was infested with poachers. Illegal harvesting and hunting was rife. Now the situation couldn't be more different. The hard work and dedication of the Mara Conservancy has revolutionized this magical land. But now, the loss of revenue from tourism has created a grave crisis. The Mara Conservancy needs help if they are to continue protecting the reserve and supporting the local communities whose livelihood depend on its survival.
It's a huge privilege to be in these incredible places with these amazing animals. I love filming lions. When they do get up and do something, it's always spectacular. When they are playing, are incredibly fun to watch, especially sabals and cubs. I love being in the bush and working in these incredible places with these amazing animals. We want to bring it to you so that you can almost feel like you're right there and be able to experience it and enjoy it the way we are.
It looks like most of these hyenas have given up. I know when I arrived here, there was just one hyena that was trying so hard, but eventually 2 more hyenas came after we heard some growls behind the thickets, and I'm thinking this is where the leopard could be right now. I think there was a bit of a confrontation between the leopard and the hyenas that side. It is a little bit thick, and we're going to wait out a little bit longer, see if this leopard will come back to the carcass, even though the hyenas are starting to sleep and lay down not too far from the tree. I don't really think that this leopard would attempt to come back here, but eventually it's going to have to come back and climb up the tree and see if it can get an opportunity to feed. There's still quite a lot of meat left, so I have got no doubt that even this afternoon this carcass will still be up here, especially with the hyenas not making it easy for the leopard to come and go as it pleases. And I also know that there is a nice little pen with water not too far from here, just a place to go for this leopard in case it might need a drink after this meal. When I do a loop, just check around the area if we'll be able to spot this leopard for you guys. And then while we do that, we'll send you guys to Jonty with the wild dogs.
Okay, so we've just looped around. The dogs cut off the road, so we've come in front of them. The other vehicle, you can still see them. They're heading straight west. So we've tried to get in front of them. Let's hope we get lucky. But it is absolute chaos with these dogs. I think that is what makes them so fun. So I imagine that where they cut off, they should be coming out somewhere here on our right. I'm just going to go a little bit further forward. There's a bigger clearing. Where we can just stop and have a look and listen. And hopefully they'll become running past at Mach 5. But I'll say, it's such a big perk of the job. You know, like being a guide, you get to drive these cars, and every now and again you get to pretend you're a rally driver rushing around.
backwards now.
Okay, copied. Have they reached Longpole Road yet?
That's negative.
Okay, copied.
Longpole West Junction, Falburn. I think just slightly to the east of that junction.
Okay, copy. That's exactly where I'm waiting. I'll just stand by here.
Copy. I'll shout if anything changes.
Copied. Okay, so we've just been told we are in the perfect place.
Oh, well done. Running a little bit south. Must do something. The town is a little bit small, so I'm very back to Kaya. I left them also look the data from north of Green Pen Sand on training section there. She from myself, maybe she bump it there all the Green Pen.
Nicole, not all of them. So it is interesting. Wild dog hunt would be considered like a whole morning. This whole period of that they've been active this morning would be considered a hunt. But within that, there would be lots of different chases that they've had and missed. So definitely not. I can hear the car. I think, yeah, we definitely took the easier route of coming around on the road to wait here. Go ahead.
I would head further east on Longpole East, and then moving in a northeasterly direction. But I think you should see us any moment now.
Okay, copied. I've got your audio. I wonder if we need to go a little bit further forward. Let's go a little bit further forward. So we're just looking very carefully. We want to see those big black ears coming bounding towards us. While we keep trying, I'm going to head back to Lauren with Moya.
The boundary if they started to move west or north. What we hope will do.
This has been the most difficult off-roading I have done in a really long time. Can you get it from here, Darren? Oh, Moya's taken us high and low. Whew. I've not had a chance to eat my banana or peanut butter. But she's heading into Juma. We are very close to Treehouse Dam and she's moving in a northerly direction. There's lots of game paths here. We've had many sightings around here, so we are just going to keep following her for now. But it's so fascinating that she's here. I mean, Steve, I think Rexon found her the other day for Steve. Maybe not the other day. It was possibly a few weeks ago now. So she's been sighted once recently. But now she's back on Juma at Treehouse Dam. That's one of the core areas for both Kalamba and Shidulu. Moya is actually the female that did kill one of Shidulu's cubs, Kara's little mate, which is normal in leopardesses, but I'm going to move, Darren. That's the only way we actually know Moya. This is the first time I'm getting to meet her, which is quite the pleasure. So I'm going to try my best to keep up with her, and we're going to send you guys over to Ngala. We've got her here, Obs. Oh, apparently you're still with us. That's perfect, because we've got a great view of her. I don't know how long we're going to have it for. She's hungry. She looks very, very skinny. But although I didn't know who it was at the start, if you just look at her ear, she's got quite a notch on the left ear. They just look a bit tattered, like Tandy's. And if you look at that underhanging belly, it's obvious she's given birth. It's just obvious from her physique. that although she's extremely petite, she's an older leopardess. So immediately you could score Langa off the list. But where we found her, Langa's a good possibility, and so is Sabui. So when we first find a leopard that we don't know, you sort of think, right, where are you? Who could it possibly be? Moya. Ndivehi, which is the language of the Maldives, only spoken in the Maldives, nowhere else in the world. It's a mixture of Arabic. Sorry, I was just trying to look at something there. And Moya means crazy. And I do feel this drive is a little bit crazy. Sorry, Elton, one more time with that comment from Anna Marie. I was multitasking there and I did a really bad job of it. So cool to see Moya. I know. It's actually Darren's second time, isn't it, Darren? Darren's very lucky. But it's my first time.
She was a lot more obliging.
Oh, Darren's saying she was a lot more obliging last time. Well, I believe so. This has not been easy. But I am going to really try and keep up with her. I want to see where she goes. I'm intrigued. But now we really are going to send you over to Ngala.
All right, if you guys have a look at on top of that marula tree, it is not the marula tree with the carcass. It is rather the marula tree next to the one with the carcass. There is a vulture and a battalion. Now I'm hoping that with these two birds of prey in the area, that might prompt the leopard into coming back to the carcass, because these guys, unlike the hyenas that are here, these birds can access that carcass. If they fly from here to the carcass, then they can start feeding there. So if you look on there is the battalion, you guys, and the other one that's the bigger one there is the white-backed vulture on the left of your screen. So hopefully these guys attempt to go to the carcass, and this might prompt the leopard to come back. Because right now, I think the leopard knows that there's no way the hyenas are going to get to that carcass because it is up the tree. It's out of reach for the hyenas. But for the birds of prey, it's actually in reach. They can access there and feed without worrying about the hyenas as well. Shreya, you're asking how we identify the different types of vultures. Well, to start with, they are of different sizes, even though they might be of similar sizes. And their colors and their patterns are also different. Like, for example, the hooded vulture is smaller than the white-backed vulture, and the bill of the hooded vulture is smaller than the bill of a white-backed vulture. And the color on the face of a white or a leopard-faced vulture is different compared to that of a white-backed vulture. And there's also a Cape vulture, which is much bigger, but it's got a different eye. But also knowing the common species that you get in that particular area, it helps. Because I know that out here we get mostly the white-backed vulture is the common one that we get to see a lot, and then the hooded vulture, and then we sometimes get to see the leopard-faced, And then, yeah, that's how we actually get to tell the difference between these vultures. See, some of the hyenas are up. I'm not sure. You guys can't see that now. I'm thinking maybe this leopard might still be around here. I did drive just to have a look. I couldn't see anything. So we'll stand by here and wait and hope that the leopard comes back for the carcass. I was happy when I saw the battalier land on that tree where the vulture is, actually hoping that they would make a move for the carcass. Look at that battalier, you'll see it hasn't really gained its full plumage. Still prominent brown and a little bit of green around the bill and all that. So it takes them about 7 years at least to get that beautiful red face and red feet and black and white wing patterns and a little bit of brown in the shoulders and all that. So you can tell that this is still a juvenile, and looking at it, how prominent brown it still is, I don't think it's close to that 7 years yet. So I think it might just be rather 2 or 3 years, or maybe even 4. But once they get to around 5 or 6, and then you can see the face and the feet starting to change to become more orange or reddish. Bit of confrontation there, the battalier leaving.
Good morning and welcome back on Bushwalk. We just discovered a journey of giraffe, and it's consisting of one bull at least and then a number of females and their young, which is quite an interesting little association because normally the males don't stick around with the females other than that there's a cow that might be an estrus. So they just tend to go from one group to the next group and always checking the reproductive status of females. There's no parental care on the male side when it comes to raising the young, and the female does it all on her own. We've recently seen the same little group. I'm not sure if we can see the small ones at the moment, but one of them still had its umbilical cord attached to it. So it's less than a week and a half or so of age, we reckon. I just love to see these little young giraffes. They're so cute. I still would love to see one being actually born. So when they do give birth, they actually get dropped at some 1.5 meters in height. And that whole action snaps the umbilical cord, but it also triggers the young giraffe to take its first breath. One of the things that I also find particularly interesting is that for ossicones, those little horn-like structures are not fused yet, because otherwise it would obstruct the birth canal and possibly lead to problems when they are giving birth. The one closest to us here is a bull. You can see is much darker than the other individuals in the group. And if you also do go to the top of these little horn-like structures, you'll notice that they're bald on top, which is one of the features which we can use to separate males from females. Females always have those little black paintbrush-like tips to the top. So does the very young males also have those paintbrush-like tips, but as they become older, then it starts disappearing. One of the things that I do find particularly interesting about the giraffe bulls is that when it comes to feeding, that they're not very picky about what they eat. They eat and they move on. and they focus their remainder of their energy on fighting other males as well as looking for cows and estrus. But when it comes to the females, they're pretty picky about what they eat. They only go for the highest quality of foods to make sure that they're in the best condition that they can actually conceive. So when we are on walks, we generally use giraffe as pretty good indicators of what's going on around us. If we know that they're staring at us, we generally know that it's fairly safe. If they are looking at something other than us, then there's generally a potential threat on the ground. At the moment, these guys aren't really aware of us. They're just continuing eating. I was taking note of what they were eating earlier on, and it was the purple pod cluster leaf, which we were viewing yesterday and discussed. So a lot of the pods and seeds actually has got a very high protein yield, and that's precisely what they're after. On Bullis, the left-hand side of us is coming a little bit closer. I think he's actually hearing us, and he's coming to investigate to see what we are doing. There's actually a third individual, large individual that's joining us now from the left. Let's see what he gets up to. There's also a female. See, there's also a number of little birds following them. There's a little black bird by the name of a fork-tailed drongo that loves following anything from the dwarf mongoose up to elephants. And they're just basically waiting for the giraffe to disturb the insects as they're moving, and then they grab their meal. Not sure if you've actually seen these birds in the Kalahari. They also quite often associate with meerkats. And what they do there is they actually imitate the alarm call of a meerkat as soon as the meerkat has caught something to eat. And then basically the meerkat will drop his food and they'll go and steal it. Well, we're going to sit here for a little bit longer and enjoy this giraffe sighting. But let's go and see what Lauren is up to, as she's got a leopard.
Everyone, Moya's having a drink and I am exhausted. I also need a drink, a stiff one. No, I'm only joking. It's very early in the morning. But I am going to go quiet and just let you enjoy this incredible moment at Treehouse Dam. Very pale. You see what I mean about the sort of saggy tummy? Naturally. She's an older leopardess. She's going to go right behind Aubrey's vehicle, which I'm sure he'll be very happy for because it's not been an easy morning. Now, Moya was born in July 2009. So much older leopardess. 12 years old. Okay, I'm going to try my very best to keep up with dearest Moya here, and you guys are going to go back over to Ngala.
It looks like the big birds of prey, or the raptors, have actually found an interest in this area, because after that vulture chased the battalier, a tawny eagle, as you can see right at the top of that marula tree, has just landed into the scene. I saw it flying over the tree with the carcass, had a brief look and then turned around and came and landed up there. And now another battalier was just flying above these two trees. So I'm going to stick around. I'm hoping that we get these birds of prey to go to the carcass. If they can manage to get to the carcass, at least we get to see them feeding. Also looks like that tawny eagle is cleaning up this morning. That is a very beautiful eagle. Well, Ralph, you're asking why aren't eagles considered a hawk species? I think it's rather the size. Eagles are bigger than hawks, and also that the eagles are classified by mostly having feathers that are growing all the way down on their legs to their feet. So the hawks lack that. But knowing what studies do, that might change anytime. It seems like the more people get to study, the more we actually get to discover, and therefore changing a lot of things. Like if you look, the names of birds over the years have constantly kept changing, so I would not be surprised if one of the eagles changes to a hawk or one of the hawk changes to an eagle.
This is Jake Whitener, all the way from the US, and he is a holder of the Ticket to Dream.
I decided to support and buy the Ticket to Dream to help WildEarth in its mission of conservancy towards animals and the environment.
If you want to go on safari with a WildEarth guide, whilst honing your bush knowledge and of course featuring in one of our shows, then head over to our website.
And I would highly recommend that people would be involved in that program.
Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer and you could be making your first ever on-screen appearance.
Ever since I was able to get the Ticket to Dream, I've been looking forward to coming on this drive. It is an absolutely fabulous experience and it's great.
Founded in 1973, the Endangered Wildlife Trust has consistently and effectively worked towards achieving our conservation legacy. Contribute to this legacy by visiting EWT's Get Wild eShop and purchase products with a purpose.
My name is Steve, and one of my favorite things at WildEarth is getting questions from you. The type of questions that I really like are those ones that really help us to unpack and understand and really integrate the ecological knowledge and fully appreciate the importance that animals such as these Cape buffalo bring to the ecosystem. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, you're going to have to register on the website, but once registered, just head on over to the live safari page and enter your question under the live feed.
Guys, have a look at what we've got. This is better than my birthday. Look at that. This is the first time that I ever see cubs this small. This is so special. This has officially just become my best sighting of all times.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
If you guys look carefully there, you'll see that tawny eagle that was perched right at the top of the tree has decided to take off. I just thought it would be a beautiful sight to see one of these birds in flight. It is quite far and it looks like it's flying further and further away. So when you're asking which bird of prey can fly the highest, that is actually an interesting question. Let me think which one I have seen fly the highest. I think I'll give that award to the vultures. The vultures are the ones that I've seen go by far the highest. And in fact, I've seen them flying as high, almost as high as the clouds. I don't really understand why or what influenced that tawny eagle's decision to leave here and carry on flying looking for food. Well, there's a carcass there, and knowing very well that tawny eagles are known to scavenge. However, maybe the eagle might have seen something that we don't really see from our angle. The interesting part is that that vulture has not made a move. It's still in that very same tree. And it has not even attempted to go to that carcass there. And the tawny eagle is just flying away. Alright, I think we're gonna leave the area now. Maybe come back here in the afternoon to check if there are any interesting developments or any changes like that. For now, I think it's getting warm up and all the animals are starting to settle down. So in the meantime, we'll send you guys to Pridelands with JP.
morning and welcome back on Bushwalk. A little bit earlier on the show, we were discussing about when we are walking, how we keep our eyes open on the trails, specifically for snakes. And what we did find is the remains of the skin of a puff adder after it shed its skin and outgrown the skin that it has. So I just want to point out a few little things to you, why it's firstly an adder. So we can see right over here that it's got a fairly thick, stubby center. It's quite a short snake. In general, if we didn't, I just want to see if I can remove this and flatten that. But you'll normally notice that puff adders have got a diamond-shaped head by which you can identify them. And we can just see those chevron patterns on the inside of the skin over here. So this is actually the part that has made contact with the snake, and the outside of the skin is now on the inside of this little skin. As they break it, they actually crawl out. It's very similar to when you are wearing a wetsuit. You step on the wetsuit, step out, and now the outside is on the inside, and the inside is on the outside when they crawl out of it. I do like puff adders quite a lot. They're beautiful snakes. They're also incredible ambush predators. And they can patiently sit and wait for prey to come into striking distance. And they are incredibly fast strikers as well. And they've also got incredibly long fangs, which is used to penetrate their prey. And then venom is injected that will then start slowly killing the prey animal, as well as assist with the digestion of the prey animal itself. One of the things that we find with snakes is that they have to have very elastic jaws so that they can basically swallow prey items that's much larger than that the head or the mouth is itself. So in general, when we look at adders, they tend to be cytotoxic, which means that they've got tissue-destroying venom, compared to other snake species, which has either got neurotoxins, which specifically works on the nervous system, especially snakes like the black mamba that we have in this area. And the third type of venom that we do get in this area is the snakes such as vine snake and boomslang, which has got hemotoxins, which specifically works on blood. And interestingly enough, one of the snakes that we have in this area, which is known as a Mozambique spitting cobra, has actually got a combination of neuro and cytotoxins, and that can vary geographically and the amounts of which those two venoms occur in. So we're going to continue our walk and go and see what's happening at the dam. And in the meanwhile, we're going to hand you back to Lauren and see what she's up to.
We've managed to keep up with Moya. Believe it or not, she's at the junction Weaver's Nest, Savages and Elephant Carcass. Exactly this road that we had Tlalamba on the kill the past few days. This is really fascinating. And although Moya means crazy in Divehi, obviously that's in the Maldives, she's actually named here, and Moya means wind or spirit or phantom in Zulu. And sometimes she's known as a Nanga female. Some people call her Moya, some people call her the Nanga female. I only ever use Moya, but she does have two names, and that's often to do with different sort of areas, different reserves, just calling her different names, and then they've stuck. See, she's raising the white flag. She's got a 3-3 spot pattern. And if she off-roads, we're just going to let her be. I feel like we've had enough time with her. But if we can follow her along the road, then of course we will. Sometimes you just have to make that call as a guide. Just to leave it. And just let her get about her morning. She's skinny, she's hungry. She's tried to hunt a few birds and, well, failed, shall we say. Sometimes you just have to make that call that it's just time to let her be. But she's really far into Juma. We're about 100 meters from where Tlalamba had that carcass. Tlalamba's gone, the carcass is gone, but it's just the same area, and the ebb and flow of the bush just never fails to blow my mind. This is the exact spot that we had the dogs, 2 hours earlier, an hour and a half earlier? When the dogs bombed our shot, this was Weaver's Nest. It just goes to show you just the constant ebb and flow of the bush. And talking of the dogs, we are going to send you over to John D.
Welcome back, everybody. So the dogs gave us the slip. What is the Kansas City Shuffle? Yeah, so one of the other vehicles, we had looped around to wait on the road, and he said he was following them, and he went around a termite mound. When he came out around the other side, they were gone. So I wonder how big the termite mound was. But yeah, they slipped us, so that's fine. We've moved out of that area. We let them sort of carry on with their day. It's so awesome that Lauren's with Moya. That's a leopard I haven't seen. So maybe, depending where she goes, maybe this afternoon I can go try find her. It would be very, very cool. So we're just cruising along, Odie and I. We're looking out, seeing if there's any fresh tracks on the road. We're both saying it would be awesome to maybe see some elephants. But we're doing some of my favorite things, which is driving around in the bush. I wonder if we should check this pan here. Let's check it. We're right here, so let's check it. So we're doing some of my favorite things, which is driving around in a beautiful place, looking for animals, and just exchanging some good old stories. So we haven't done I don't know, it could be time for another story. I don't know. What do you think, Odie? After the story about my dad's experience at Windsor Park, I still need Odie said I should be banned from stories after telling that story about my dad. I must actually phone him. I don't think he knows that he's potentially become well known. But maybe, yeah, if anybody is keen for some sort of story, maybe send in, what is this here? That is a very nice leopard track. Wow, is that like in my career or in my time here at Juma? So I'm just looking at this leopard track. I'm presuming it's from the one that... Can you get it? Is it too close?
It's a bit close, yeah.
I think it's a bit too close. Let me go just stand here so you can see it. Down here. So that track, we've just spotted it now, but this is very close to where Lauren found that the new male leopard last night. I think this is where he walked last night. These aren't fresh, but it's always great to know that you're looking where a prince has walked. How many leopards have I seen? Jeepers. I don't know. That is a tough question because I'd have to sit and go back at the properties that I've worked at and try and run through. And then, saw 2 leopards in India, which would add to it. In Zambia, I don't know. That's a hard question. I'd have to really go sit down and think about it. but it will be a lot. I've been very, very spoilt. So it will be a lot of leopards. Maybe I'll go sit and see if I can get up with a number. And this afternoon, if I get a reminder, I'll let you know how many I think I've seen.
Good morning and welcome on Bushwalk. We're on one of the footpaths leading towards the main waterhole. And we see there's some elephants that already have come in and out towards the waterhole, and they're now moving away. We're just going to see if we can get a better view of them. So at the moment, again, we always, as normal, try and look at the wind direction, which is in our favor, as well as the sun that's in our favor. These animals seem to be moving off in quite a hurry to go somewhere else. They're most likely going out to go and feed away again from the main water body. Throughout the day, it seems that they make a number of different journeys with different groups of elephant that will come in and out. I'm not going to try and keep up with these guys. I rather go and reposition ourselves at the dam and see if we can maybe find another group that will come in. These are young bulls that came in to come and have a drink, and we often see that there's a number of different social structures that we find with elephants. Sometimes we have breeding herds that come and visit the dam. Other times we have bachelor groups, which consisted of several males, and then also a number of lone bulls, which are generally males that are older than 25 years of age that are actively seeking females to mate with. And quite often we will find that those dominant bulls will trail the females in when they come and drink, and then check the reproductive condition of each of those females to see if there's somebody that they would like to or can mate with at that moment. Let's go and see what we can go and find at the dam.
We've got just a bull elephant, and it looks like this elephant might be interested in a drink. There is water in the direction that he's facing. We're hoping that he just crosses the road and gets into the dip for a drink. Look at how the head is bobbing when he's going downhill in that quarry. All that weight and him trying to balance. See, because he has to go down in, it's always wise to just have a look around the area and make sure that there aren't any predators. Even though he is big, he is still a predator, and you would have a problem with that. You can see it looks like he's not going straight head in. He was either rather walking a little bit like sideways towards that. First sip and suck it out. just to clean the trunk a little bit and then go for a drink. He's quite a big elephant, not the biggest I've seen, but he is a large elephant bull. He's still young, still looks young. I'm thinking maybe somewhere around his late 20s to his early 30s at this age. He is independent, of course, moving out on his own. He did give us a little bit of a shake and just try and push us back earlier on. I thought maybe he could be in must, but it doesn't look like he's in must. Or maybe it could be those early stages of his must. But otherwise, I might also think that he may have encountered other big elephant bulls throughout the night that have given him problems. Because it's something that we just also need to think about. What do these elephants go through at night? What is it that he experienced throughout the night? Was it pleasant? Was it not pleasant? How bad was it? Because that might affect his behavior, and that just might change how he reacts or responds to everything else in the day. He might be a little bit moody, especially if he's just lost a fight between him and another elephant bull. What an amazing thing to watch a bull elephant drinking. I think now that he's done, he's going to carry on with this rest of the morning. and try and feed and all that. So we'll send you guys to Juma in the meantime.
Well, we have found someone who is just absolutely loving life at the moment. Look at this monitor lizard. I don't know how he's figured out that that's a comfortable way to chill out this morning, but he looks like he doesn't have a worry in the world. It's crazy to think that what was it, an hour or a half ago, we had the dogs here on this damn wall staring at the hippo. Now the hippo's chilling, the monitor lizards are sunning themselves. There's another one, you can just see its tail, OD. And there was one much younger one, but it went behind the sort of roots of that tree with very, very bright colors. Even this one looks like it's got great colors on it. That potentially recently shed its skin. There's the hippo. I always laugh when I see these big monitor lizards. There's a story from, it actually happened at Ngala, but one of the guests was in her room and she was about to have a bath, and she called reception. Let me move my head out of the way. She called reception and she said, "I'm sorry, there's a lizard in my bathroom." And they said to her, "Oh, is it a small lizard on the wall?" And she said, "Yeah, it's on the side of the bath by the wall." And they said to her, "It's fine, it's a gecko. They're completely harmless." And she said, "Oh, okay." And the next night she phoned again and said, "This lizard's still here." And they said, "Oh, is it small?" It was a different person at reception. They said, "Oh, is it a small one on the wall?" She said, "Yes." And they said, "Don't worry, it's just a gecko. Don't stress, it won't do anything to you." And eventually on the third night she phoned and she said, "Look, I know you've told me there's nothing wrong with this lizard, but please, can someone come remove it?" And they walked into the room and she'd had a bubble bath run already, and on the side of the bath was a massive monitor lizard. So this poor lady had 2 baths next to these monitor lizards. The first question the guide asked her was, "Where do you come from that is a small lizard?" Because it was massive. It always makes me think of that when I see them sunning themselves. And we're just going to stay here and enjoy the warm sun and watch this beautiful scene at Juma Dam.
Educating our youth about the environmental threats we face is critical. Our future depends on it. The Wildlife and Environment Society of South Africa, WESA, is actively leading the charge. Their goal is to encourage children to fall in love with our natural world and to empower them to live sustainably in the future. Through their school programs, the children learn to report on environmental issues through videos, articles and photos.
The YRE program has changed my life in so many beneficial ways. Being out there at the workshops, I was entitled to talk with others, socialize, as well as my writing skills and leadership skills have improved. So it has been great.
WESA is a membership-based organization. By joining WESA, you will be helping to provide valuable support for these youth education initiatives.
Hi everyone, my name's Daniel Fisher and I'm going to be your guide this afternoon. I'm looking really forward to taking you through and showing you all the beautiful places here at andBeyond in Ngala. If you have any questions, please register on our website. Once registered, go to the live page feed and post your questions underneath the live feed. Join me on my next safari through andBeyond in Ngala on WildEarth. Send me live questions through the WildEarth website and I'll answer them live from the African bush.
Look at this, the little one is up and about. Certainly hasn't had enough milk at this age. No amount of milk is enough. Oh, Corky. Too sweet. Oh, look at this. That is stunning.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
What an incredible morning drive. A very busy one. So I thought, let's just end the drive on quarantine with the Impala. Impala relax me. I don't know why, especially when the sun is shining and they're just going about their business. But it has come to that time, everyone. The sun has risen and the sunrise safari is over. But as you know, we do a sunset safari, so please do jump on board. It will be jaunty's last drive for a while, which is very sad, so please jump on board with us to have some fun. And I just want to say a big thank you for all your comments and questions. It's much appreciated. We couldn't do it without you. So I'm going to get breakfast, and you guys have a good day. I'll